Okay, welcome back. I have finished cutting out the template for my little Mimi book, and I hope the lighting's okay so you can see. Here's my original M, and then the E, my second M, and the last E. So when this person opens the book, there'll be plenty of room to put pictures and stuff like that. On my final E, which you didn't see me do, I did have to add a little bit more file folder to extend it a little bit, which I just taped, and I'll do the same thing with that on the chipboard. So now I'm going to take this template and I'm going to trace each piece onto a piece of chipboard. Like I said, chipboard comes in different thicknesses. This one's pretty thin. If I were to measure it, it's like 1/10 of a millimeter. It's very thin stuff, but I like it because it's easier to cut through. Sometimes this thicker chipboard holds up a little bit better, but it's very hard to cut through. So depending on what you're making, I like this chipboard. And you can get chipboard in 8.5 by 11. You can get it in a lot bigger pieces. This is just kind of nice to work with. It's easy to work with for word books. And just make sure you have plenty of it on hand. So if you mess up, it's okay. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take your letters and you are just going to trace them right on the chipboard. You already have your template, so you're just tracing over your template. Don't worry if you get pencil on the template. I do that all the time. No one sees the templates but you. Trace my M. Do I have room on here for the E? No, not quite. I'm just going to try to save some chipboard. So I'll just trace my E. Oops. Same way. And after you trace each one, you're just going to cut it out again. Same scissors. And you're going to cut the actual book. This is the part that you're going to put your paper on, you're going to embellish. If you already have pictures, you're going to put your pictures on this part. You can buy word books already pre-made at craft stores, but you can't. I haven't found any that have names on them. So these are kind of nice because you can really personalize them and make someone their very own book. The only thing I caution you is if someone has a really long name, it's kind of hard to make them a book. The longest name I've done was 6 letters, and not that you can't do it, but it is huge. And I think it's too big for someone, because who really wants to have a huge book that they gotta find a place to put. And so if someone has a really long name, I usually just do their initials, and I can show you that sometime and show you how that looks. If you've been on my blog, I did one for a little boy a few weeks ago. His first name had 9 letters in it, little Jonathan. My sister asked me to make her one. I said there's no way. It's a lot of tape. And I would just be afraid also it would fall apart eventually. So I would caution you not to do one longer than 6 letters unless you use a really skinny font. If you're doing Cricut, using your Cricut, like Alphalicious is a very skinny font, George is very skinny. Those work just fine too. But I would just caution you, if it gets to be a couple feet long, it's probably too big. So far I've cut out my first M, and see how, again, I've left some room on the side. My first E, and they'll just lay nicely on top of each other. And I'm not going to make you sit through me cutting out the other two, but it's going to be the same exact thing. And because I had to add a little bit of file folder to the edge, I'm going to have to add a little bit of chipboard too. So all you're going to do, just take your chipboard, because this is the same size, and what I do is I line it up the other way. If you see over here, I line up the side where it actually has the letter on it, and I'll add extra over here. That's just because I think it will look better and it's going to be a little bit more sturdier to have the extra piece over here rather than over here. So what I'm going to do is I will just take a piece of the chipboard I've already cut out. Let's use what we already have. I'm going to lay it underneath. And again, I'm just going to use some Scotch tape. Tape it together. Remember, this gets covered with pattern paper. So whoever's getting this is not even going to know that you had to do this unless you show them my little video, and they're going to know all of our secrets. Just tape it on both sides. Get a little more sturdier. Yes, pattern paper will stick to it with some glue, so no need to worry about that. And again, I'm just going to line it up, trace it out, and cut it out. So when I'm done, I'm going to have a mini little word book that's all ready to cover with pattern paper and embellishments, and I'll show you how to do that next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.